Hello everyone, I am CoolGuy. Welcome back. It is week 6 of our weekly vendor weapon reset. Now this is for the weapons. If you're looking for PvE specific reset activities such as Nightfall, burn modifiers, stat rolls for things like the Iron Lord artifacts, go ahead and check out Mesa Sean. He's the best in the business. There's a link in the description to his video. Now we have the Vanguard Quartermaster. This is Ronnie. Now it's the Continental versus the Extremophile, same archetype of auto rifle. So I'm currently working on a versus video comparing the two to help out with future purchases. But this week we have the Red Dot ORA, the Sure Shot, and the OEG. We have Spray and Play, or Eye of the Storm, Small Bore, or Rifled Barrel, and then Glass Half Full. And you know what? There's nothing really to love about this roll or hate, but I like the roll because we have Spray and Play, Small Bore, and Glass Half Full. Glass Half Full is just kind of decent, but we're kind of getting to that perk quicker because we have Small Bore to reduce our magazine. And then Spray and Play. It's a very ease of use auto rifle, and it's a good starter roll. I do recommend it if you're needing one for, like, let's say a bounty. But next we have the Parthian shot, and it's no mystery that this is one of my favorite weapons in the game. This week we have the Reflex, the Steady Hand, the OEG Rifle Scope. We have Rodeo or Fruiting Frenzy, Hand-Laid Stock or Lightweight, and then Counterbalance. And I do recommend picking this roll up this week, just if you don't have this archetype. Now, there are very few rolls that make this really good, and this is one of the ones that make it really good. And honestly, Rodeo, it kind of helps with the center speed of the burst a little bit, but I would personally go with Feeding Frenzy to help get a fast reload after any kill, headshot or body shot. We're talking PvP here. Now, Hand-Laid Stock, really going to help the grouping with Counterbalance to make the burst tight to land your 2 burst kills, and you are going to experience a little bit of damage drop off on some of your bigger maps like Widow's Court, Shores of Time, things like that. But in effective range, it's going to have a pretty far extended effective range, and you're going to be okay. So I do recommend picking up the Parthian shot this week. Next, we have the Angel's Advocate, like the Mina multi-tool. And you know what? This week we have the Reflex, the MD Reflex, the Range Lens, and then the regular Reflex. We have Rodeo or Mulligan, Hand-Laid Stock or Explosive Rounds, and Hidden Hand. These two together, Hand-Laid Stock and Hidden Hand, are going to be really good together. Now, it's up to you with Rodeo with that center speed. I would personally go with Mulligan. I mean, if you miss a shot, it might come back. And for PvE, I would go Explosive Rounds. It's just a decent all-around roll. And there are going to be some weapons this week that are going to warrant your marks. We're going to get to them later. And first of all, that Parthian shot is 150 out of the rip. We have True Sight, Fast Draw, Quick Draw for the How Dare You, Triple Tap, Partial Refund, Small Bore, Lightweight, and Rangefinder. Now, we don't have Rifle to reinforce. That's what we want for this hand cannon to be decent in PvE or PvP, so we're going to pass. Next, we have the X Asterisk. It's a fast-firing fusion rifle, and I'm going to bring it up again just because of replenish for that user-specific role. It's good for Defender Titans, good for self-res Warlocks, and it's good for just popping your super in general, but I don't particularly love this archetype. It's Spray and Play or Replenish, Brace Frame or Enhanced Battery, or Eye of the Storm. There's actually a better fusion rifle this week that I will recommend, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And then we have the TEACUP Tempest, and I absolutely love this roll. The WORMWOOD is going to be the best archetype, but this is a close second. We have Steady Hand or Fast Draw, and then Quick Draw. We have Mulligan or Army of One, Hand Loaded or Casket Mag, and then Hidden Hand. Now, Army of One's a good passive perk because it's a fast kill. You're going to get a little bit of reduction in your grenade and melee cooldown, but I love Mulligan and Appended Magazine together. It's a really good perk combination on a sidearm, believe it or not. And then we have Hidden Hand. I do recommend it as a good starting roll this week. We have the Razor. It has Replenish and Rangefinder. We're going to pass. We're not going to go in depth. But we have the 7th Sense, and we're going to bring this up because in the middle we have Quick Draw and Snapshot. Best of both worlds, and Quick Draw is going to be the better option. Our scopes are Wild Hawk, Long View, and Ambush. I would go with Ambush. We have Army of One in Spray and Play, Quick Draw or Snapshot, and then Unflinching. So if you were to pick this up as a starter roll, we would go Spray and Play for PvE with Quick Draw and Unflinching. Now for PvP, we would go Army of One with Quick Draw and Unflinching. It's going to be up to you. Then we have the Bone Crusher, and I love this machine gun. We have Aggressive Ballistics, which is always good, Smart Drift Control and Soft Ballistics, Life Support or Hip Fire, Hand-Laid Stock, Armor Piercing Rounds, and then Persistence. So if you were to pick this up, it's going to be up to you. Aggressive Ballistics is going to be good, but why not Smart Drift Control and Hand-Laid Stock to get that stability way up? With Persistence, we're going to go for Precision over Damage Fall Off, so that's going to be up to you. Now, the one that I use is Counterbalance and Unflinching. It's a really good roll. It's one I would actually recommend in the future. I go in between the Bone Crusher and the Deluge in the corrective measure for my machine gun usage. Then we have the Disassembly Required, good blast radius, good velocity, all around good rocket launcher. The Warhead Veneers, soft launch, hard launch. We have Grenadier or Life Support, Perfect Balance or Javelin, and then Cluster Bomb. And again, it's good for Axis, stationary target, because the cluster bombs drop and hit his feet. Ideally, we want Spray and Play, Field Scout, and Cluster Bomb, but Grenadier's a good perk, good passive perk for getting kills on ads to get your grenade up. Gonna be up to you. At dead orbit, first of all, we have some good Hunter leg armor with intellect strength, but that's besides the point. So we have the Extremophile. It's essentially almost the same role, but this one has high caliber rounds, which is specific to the Extremophile, which we will go in depth later on. We have the Reflex, the Quick Draw, and the OEG rifle scope. High caliber rounds are lightweight, hammer forge and hot swap, and then glass half full. So we would go high caliber rounds, and honestly, both of these are really good options. And then, and of course, glass half full. The Continental I like a little bit more with its perk synergy this week, but it's going to be up to you. The Keystone 01, and a lot of people are giving me a lot of stuff in the comment section. I have given it a try. It's a decent one. The stability is a little bit low, but we can deal with that. We have the Reflex, the Focus Lens, and the OEG. Explosive rounds, which is really important in PvE and higher level activities. It can one-shot shanks, which is really important. So explosive rounds are lightweight, small bore, outlaw, and then hidden hand. And you can't go wrong with outlaw and hidden hand. It's going to be very good, sticking to your target. And you know what? With these high impact scout rifles, hidden hand is always good on them because they have generally lower than average aim assist, so it's going to help at a distance. Going to be up to you. I would personally pass this week. Rolls to come, we're going to skip this week. Last Ditch we're going to skip because the curtain call is a lot better. We have the Bitter Edge. It does have Snapshot. It's always worth breaking up when a weapon has Snapshot or Quick Draw on these sniper rifles. We have the Short Gaze or Taxis. Armor Piercing Round Snapshot, Hammer Forge, Triple Tap, or Hidden Hand. So we're talking more or less PvE here with Snapshot, Triple Tap, or Hidden Hand, or Armor Piercing. You can go right through targets. I would personally pass, but it's decent because we do have that Snapshot option. The Unto Dust we're going to pass on, and you know what, I'm a believer now with the reload speed because I do have one with Field Scout, Spray and Play, and Cluster Bombs. Very good for Axis. We keep bringing that up. But as far as this is really good, but ideally we wanted Spray and Play right here with the Field Scout Spray and Play combo. I would personally pass this week. Let's go ahead and check out Future War Cult. Starting off with the WAIL, and honestly I would pass this week. It does have Firefly, but honestly we're looking for a Fatebringer because the Fatebringer will do everything this hand cannon can do a little bit better. We have Explosive Rounds or Quick Draw, Perfect Balance and Hot Swap, and then Firefly. I would pass. Next we have the WALTZ. Let's see what we got this week. Always a good starter weapon regardless of the role because it's a good archetype for PvP. The MD Reflex, the Sure Shot, the OG rifle scope. The Sure Shot's really big for me. So we have Flared Magwell or Snapshot, Perfect Balance or Eye of the Storm, and then Glass Half Full. Honestly, we would go with Snapshot, Perfect Balance, and then Glass Half Full. Glass Half Full isn't the best on a pulse rifle, and you're not really going to get to the end of the magazine too much, whereas that auto rifle, you could. Next, we have the Waiting, and it's actually decent this week. We're going to bring it up. We do have Accelerated Coils, which we would pass on because it would change the archetype. We have Snapshot, then it's Perfect Balance or Knee Pads, and then Rangefinder. So Knee Pads actually is really good with the charge time at the end of the slide to get the burst off. Then we have Rangefinder, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth with the Vanguard Quartermaster. We have the Wounded, great PvE scout. It's the Red Dot ORA2, the Range Lens, and then the Reflex. High caliber rounds, then Snapshot, Small Bore or Third Eye, and then Zen Moment. It's going to be good for keeping damage on target. I would personally go high caliber rounds, you know what, with Small Bore and then Zen Moment. Third Eye, not so much. There's an artifact for that. You can bypass that whole perk. WORMWOOD, every single week I'm going to tell you to get it if you don't have one, and this week is no different. We have Steady Hand IS, Sure Shot, Quick Draw. High caliber rounds or Quick Draw. Fitted Stock or Army of One, and then Rangefinder. Rangefinder is huge on the WORMWOOD, and Army of One is a good passive perk because it's going to be very quick kills with it. And then high caliber rounds or Quick Draw. It's a very well rolled sidearm. It's almost perfect if you ask me. Then we have the Warpath. We have Aggressive Launch, Soft Launch, and Countermass. Now it's a tracking rocket launcher. Nothing really too special about it. If you don't have a tracking one, I would pick up the Warpath. Very good blast radius, and we can up our velocity a little bit with Soft Launch. And we do lose that blast radius, but we can put heavy payload there. Again, it's Flared Magwell or Snapshot, heavy payload or Battle Runner, and then tracking. Let's see what the Crucible Quartermaster has. First, starting off with the 0-Day Dilemma. And you know what? I'm going to recommend this as a starter roll because it does have a purpose. We have the MD Reflex, the Sure Shot IS, and the OEG Rifle Scope. Spray and play or close and or personal, small bore or pitted magazine, and then persistence. And the way to use this thing would be close and or personal with a pitted magazine and persistence. Close and or personal is really good on this auto rifle. It doesn't work with Thunderstrike, it doesn't work with throwing knives, it doesn't work with smoke, but it gains a little bit more melee damage. And you know what? We might talk about this later on in the week. Close and or personal is very strong on an auto rifle, so I would consider it as a starter roll. We have the B29 Party Favor, we're gonna skip this week. The Hero Formula, I'm gonna bring it up because we do have Take a Knee, Hand Laid Stock, and Hidden Hand. It's gonna really help with that. There's Rodeo. Honestly, I would take a Knee a little bit more. It actually works really well with the Scout Rifle. Armor Piercing rounds, Hand Laid Stock is gonna be the better option. For the scopes, we have the MD Reflex, Focus Lens, and the OEG Rifle Scope. Then we have the Palindrome, and if there's any small children in the room, shield their eyes, they're too young. We have the True Sight, Fast Draw, Quick Draw. We have Mulligan or Icarus, Rifled Barrel, or Explosive Rounds, and Rangefinder. Those are the golden two that I always tell you guys. You're going to be seeing this hand cannon a lot. It is very well rolled. These two together are what you want, rangefinder and rifled. And what's kind of funny is this is kind of the same exact roll when the weapon was revealed and was given to us when it first came out, because we had this combination, but spray and play was right here. But we have Icarus this time. Very good for in-air accuracy. Hand cannons in general are good from the air, but Icarus helps it out even more. Really good for double bones hunters. Really good for any class. Very solid roll. Highly recommend it. Then we have Each New Day, Fusion Rifle. I do recommend this as a starter roll and possibly one of the top rolls of the week because it's good for every kind of fusion rifle user. Now we have the Reflex, the Red Dot ORA, and the OEG. We have Unflinching or Life Support, Braced Frame or Rifled Barrel, and then Hot Swap. So whether you're a veteran or just starting off, it's very good. We have Braced Frame with Unflinching, so high stability with Unflinching helps you land your shots if you're just starting off with a fusion rifle. And if you're more advanced, we have Rifled Barrel. And what range does with a fusion rifle is it helps the projectile speed. And you need to think of range on a fusion kind of like throwing a ball. If it has really low range, you're kind of tossing it not very far, but the more range we get, you're putting a little heat on it, right? You're throwing it like a pitcher. This is a changeup, this is a fastball. That's how you need to look at range on a fusion rifle to help better understand it. Then we have Hot Swap, so when you switch to it, it helps out with that bonus accuracy. Highly recommend it this week. Then we have the 44 Curtain Call. I do recommend picking this up. We're going to spend a lot of marks this week. Smart Drift Controller, Field Choke, Aggressive Ballistics. Aggressives are really good. It gives you the impact that you want because the range that we lose, we get back with Reinforced Barrel. And then you have the option of Performance Bonus or Knee Pads. And then Crowd Control. There's also the option of Quick Draw. Very solid shotgun this week. Anton's Rule, we are going to skip. Event Horizon, it's always worth talking about because it's high impact. We have the Wild Hawk, Short Gaze, Taxis, so a short range scope. Underdog or Spray and Play, Explosive Rounds, Perfect Balance, and then Hidden Hand. We would go Spray and Play, Perfect Balance, and then Hidden Hand, possibly Explosive Rounds for PvE. It's decently rolled. Chaotic Neutral, we can talk about a little bit. I don't really talk about this one. It's good this week. We have Persistence, Perfect Balance, and then Eye of the Storm. We have Aggressive Ballistics as well. If you want a little bit more stability for precision, we have Smart Drift Control to pair with Persistence. I would pass, but it's up to you. Next, we have the Something Wicked Rocket Launcher. We have Confined Launch, Soft Launch, Countermass. It's kind of like before. We have Battle Runner, Life Support, Quick Draw, Heavy Payload, and Tracking. And what's nice about the Something Wicked are its base stats. Good blast radius, good velocity, good base reload, good tracking rocket launcher. So it's going to be up to you. And finally, New Monarchy, we have Executor Hideo here. First starting off with the assembly, and actually, before we get started, he does have a tier 12 discipline strength go, so keep that in mind. We have the assembly with Rangefinder. It's very difficult to control, but we do have the Reflex, Quick Draw, OEG, high caliber rounds are Quick Draw, Hammer Forge, Rodeo, and Rangefinder. Rodeo helps out a little bit, but we don't really get that range boost or stability boost right there, so it's going to be difficult to use. I would pass. We have an Outlaw Reactive Reload Free Will, and as much as I love this perk combination, we lose out on range and stability again. The Vanguard fast rate of fire hand cannon is going to be a little bit better. I would pass on the Free Will this week. The Impreacher we're going to pass on, Bad Counsel we're going to pass on. The Deposition does have Take a Knee. You can get no scopes with Take a Knee on a sniper rifle, and I had a video not too long ago. I was using this one. This one has the Eagle Eye, the Long View, and the Wild Hawk. That's the only disadvantage. They're all very long range scopes, except for the Long View. Long View is going to be your better option. Armor Piercing rounds are Quick Draw, Perfect Balance, Mulligan, Take a Knee. I would personally go Quick Draw, Mulligan, and Take a Knee. And then we have the First Citizen, and honestly we're going to pass this week. It does have persistence, and it does have smart drift control to help out, but honestly, there are way too many good weapons this week to waste 150 marks on the First Citizen, so we're going to pass. That's going to be the theme. There are actual top tier rolls this week. That Palindrome is a top tier roll. The Parthian shot is a top tier roll. A lot of good starter weapons. I mean, that WORMWOOD is always going to be good. The TEACUP TEMPEST with Mulligan and a Pen and Magazine. There's good fusions. There's good shotguns. Let me know in the comment section what you guys are most excited about. I will be picking up the Palindrome. The Icarus rifle barrel range is something that I've really been looking for, so I'm excited about that. Again, let me know in the comment section. Let's talk about it. And until the next one, I am CoolGuy.